one man is being victimized by our own government. One man whom they fear, yet whom millions love. One man who is willing to take the poison arrows of lawfare. One man whose voice has been taken away by a corrupt judge operating in a corrupt system. One man who has been ridiculed and insulted. One man who refused to back down. One man who refused to back down. One man who refused to back down. One man who stands between us and them. One man that wants to see America protected again. One man who wants to see America prosper again. One man who understands that a man is a man and a woman is a woman. One man who understands and protects the blessing of life. One man who wants to restore American exceptionalism. One man who once again wants to make America that shining city on a hill for all to see. A place where all the people of the world glowingly set their eyes upon. America. One man who unashamedly wants to make America great again. That one man is Donald Trump.
This is Fanfare with Barry Cunningham.
Now here's what's left of the area around the once sprawling Delphi facility in Flint, Michigan, the birthplace of General Motors, Delphi's one-time parent company. And Delphi is now one of Mexico's largest employers, with about 50 factories south of the border.
They shut right down and tore it down and took our jobs and put them over in Mexico and paid them people peanuts. Flint used to be Motor City. It's no longer Motor City. Where's all the motor? What about the kids here that are going hungry? They're not worried about those kids, obviously, and that's the kids they should be worried about. They shouldn't be worried about what's happening in some other country.
Which automaker employs the most hourly workers in the country? Ford. Which automaker assembles the most vehicles in the country? Ford. That's not a coincidence. It's a commitment. And now, at this unprecedented moment in automotive history, who benefits from Ford's commitment to America for over 120 years? You.
There's a machine shop like this literally on every corner in the Metro Detroit area. There were jobs everywhere. People were busy. They were working overtime. The city was thriving from the standpoint that people were employed. Now you drive through the neighborhoods and you see many empty buildings. There's a lot of people that have fallen off of the unemployment rolls and have not been able to find jobs.
I didn't really see a big unemployment problem because of automation, but I really do feel like the trade deals were a killer to a lot of us.
We were waiting to confirm this directly with General Motors, and now we have. And you tell me, if this is already a sign that things are happening in President Trump's favor, a General Motors spokesperson is now confirming there was a webcast to employees a short time ago. GM will be making operational adjustments at its Fort Wayne assembly, including hiring temporary employees to support current manufacturing and business needs. We continuously update and revise production schedules as part of our standard process of evaluating and aligning to manage vehicle inventory. This after initially Reuters was reporting on that webcast that they're going to be adding overtime hours for their employees, and they're going to be bringing some of that. They're going to be increasing the production of their light duty trucks at that American facility.
Yeah, I guess the tariffs are working. You know what I would hate to be? I would hate to be employed by the media today and moving forward. I would hate to be employed by somebody who has to go on the air every single day and trash America. It's no longer about trashing Trump. They are actually actively rooting against America. Instead of encouraging people, all they're trying to do is just tear people down. And even Fox, is Sandra Smith, she's like, wait, is this real? Yeah, it's real. It's actually happening. It's happening, and they can't stop it. And it's freaking them out. So I had a long, different kind of show planned, but then, as he's been doing, President Trump changes all the plans and decides to hold a pseudo press conference on Air Force One as he's flying down here to, actually went to Miami first. He's going to a dinner tonight with the Live Golf Tournament, and then he's heading back up to Palm Beach after that. Wow, excuse me. So I had to take that press conference, and as you know, when you hear him talk on Air Force One, there's a lot of background noise. So I had to try and modulate as best I could, but I think I got it to a point where you could actually hear what he has to say. So I'm going to, before I go into any kind of monologue or any other videos, I want to go ahead and play this press conference with President Trump, and he goes into a lot of things besides just the tariffs, and it's very interesting. So I'm not going to stop him. I'll talk afterwards, but this thing runs for about 16 minutes, and it's questions from the press to President Trump on Air Force One. One thing I want you to take particular attention to, as he's been prone to do lately. Trump's out there, and you know he's digging on some of these reporters, just jabbing them, and just check a look at who's behind him again tonight. Howard Lutnick is standing behind him, and just with this broad beaming smile. If you were losing, if things weren't going well, I doubt you could just, fake the smile like Howard Lutnick is. Things are starting to move. I don't think he took that much of a beating today. Stock market was down, but not far enough where people have to light themselves on fire. It's looking very good. All right, let's continue with President Trump.
Hello, I haven't seen you in a while.
Good to see you, sir.
$5 million. For $5 million, this could be yours. That was the first of the cards. You know what that card is?
Gold card.
It's the gold card. The Trump card, gold card.
Who's the first buyer?
Me.
Who's the second?
I don't know, but I'm the first buyer. It'll be out in about less than 2 weeks, probably. Pretty exciting, right?
You ready for some questions?
Anybody want to buy one? Okay, let's go.
First, we'd love to get your reaction, sir, to what's going on in the financial markets today.
Well, I mean, it's to be expected. This is a patient that was very sick. We really inherited a terrible economy, as you know, with a lot of problems, including loss of manufacturing and plants closed up all over the country. We've lost 90,000 plants since NAFTA, if you think of that. 90,000. It's not even believable. And about 6 million jobs. And so it was a sick patient. It went through an operation on Liberation Day. And it's going to be a booming country, a very booming country. It's going to be amazing, actually. And we see it because we have trillions of dollars committed to come in. Trillions.
Sir, can I ask you, when you say that it was an operation and the patient's healthy now,
are starting to construction already. We have many plants. Indiana, massive auto plant, the Honda, and we have so many plants, and they'll be under construction. And as they start to build, you're going to see a lot of construction jobs, and you're going to see a lot of jobs when they open.
Does that mean chips and pharma tariffs are not on the table?
They're starting very soon. The chips are starting very soon. The pharma is going to be starting to come in, I think, at a level that you haven't really seen before. We are looking at pharma right now, pharmaceuticals as a separate category, and we'll be announcing that sometime in the near future, not too distant future. That's under review right now.
Are you negotiating with partners currently?
What we have is we have a set of tariffs based on what they've been charging us. That's reciprocal. And those tariffs have come in, and every country's called us. That's the beauty of what we do. We put ourselves in the driver's seat. If we would have asked some of these countries, most of these countries, to do us a favor, they would have said no. Now they'll do anything for us. But we have tariffs, they've been set, and it's going to make our country very rich.
Are you open to deals with these countries if they're calling you?
Well, it depends. If somebody said that we're going to give you something that's so phenomenal, as long as they're giving us something that's good. For instance, with TikTok as an example, we have a situation with TikTok where China will probably say, we'll approve a deal, but will you do something on the tariff? The tariffs give us great power to negotiate. Always have. I've used them very well in the first administration, as you saw, but now we're taking it to a whole new level because it's a worldwide situation. And it's very exciting to see. And what it's done is driven a lot of great companies to our country, and you're going to see construction starting all over. I already got a couple of calls from Lee Zeldin from Environmental. He's got some big plans to approve. Like really, Mr. President.
How long will it take to get manufacturing, with American manufacturing, to where you would like to see it?
Well, let's say it's a 2-year process. They start a plant, and they're big plants. We're giving them approval to also, in many cases, to build the electric facility with it. So you have electric generation and the plant, and they're big plants. Now, the good news is a lot of money for them, and they can build them fast, but they're still very big plants. So I'd always say it would take a year and a half to 2 years.
Mr. President, I'm curious.
They've already started. So,
Mr. President, have you been following the New York City mayor's race? And specifically, Andrew Cuomo is now the front runner, according to the polls. How do you feel about that? Do you think you can have a good relationship with the mayor, Andrew Cuomo?
Well, I've always gotten along with him. We had our ins and outs a little bit. We did a great job for him. Remember, we built the convention center rooms for him. We didn't use them, unfortunately. And we sent the Mercy ship. We sent the really magnificent hospital ship, and they didn't use it. But we always had a pretty good relationship.
Are you going to make an endorsement in that race?
Well, it's not something I'm thinking about yet. Is he thinking about running? Yeah.
On Russia-Ukraine, there's a Russian envoy in town for some meetings. Can you give us an update on how that's going?
We do. We have an envoy from Russia. We're talking about it. We'd like to see that stop as soon as possible because thousands of people are being killed a week. Soldiers, mostly soldiers, and Ukrainian soldiers and Russian soldiers. And you're losing 2,000, 3,000 sometimes a week. So we're spearheading the drive to get it done. Europe has not been successful in dealing with President Putin, but I think I will be successful.
Sir, can I ask you about the NSC? How many staffers were let go and why? Your National Security Council. How many staffers were let go?
There was some. Always we're going to let go of people that we don't like, or people that we don't think can do the job, or people that may have loyalties to somebody else. You'll always have that.
Sir, you mentioned Netanyahu recently. Israel has now talked about staying in Gaza, doing long-term occupation. Has anything changed in regard to the U.S. Gaza-Israel plans?
I spoke to him today, as a matter of fact. And I think he's going to be coming to our country sometime in the not-too-distant future, maybe next week. And we'll speak about Israel, and we'll speak about what's going on. That's another thing we'd like to get solved. And I think we will get it solved. I think he very well may be coming.
Who's coming up?
Benjamin Netanyahu.
Israel,
Can I
Mr.
follow
President.
up on your earlier comment about TikTok? You said that the Chinese might be willing to agree to approve that sale in exchange for tariff relief. Is that something that you've floated to them, or you've heard from them? Or
No, I'm just using that as an example. Let's say we had a problem with TikTok, and let's say China wasn't going to approve, and we could use tariffs in order to get it approved. You know,
The deadline
you
is
give them
Saturday.
something in return.
What's the update on the deal negotiations for
We have,
TikTok?
we're very close to a deal with a very good group of people for TikTok.
Larry Ellison, or is it multiple investors? Just
Multiple.
And then did the last minute bids kind of throw things into disarray for you, or do you have your strategy completely locked up on who's going to?
Which last minute?
On acquiring TikTok.
No, I
There were, like, some last minute
I
bids.
think that China maybe will call and say, well, we're upset with the tariffs, and maybe they want to get something a little bit in order to get TikTok approved. Who knows?
Is there plans underway to seek to share?
I have no knowledge of that, but that's the kind of
On
thing.
Israel, can you give us any update on the Palestinian relocation plan? Are we talking to any countries?
We're going to try and solve the Gaza problem. It's been a problem for many years, for many, many decades. It's been a big problem. I've met with, as you know, a lot of the hostages. It's a terrible situation. But if you notice, hostages are being released now. And that's happened only since I got involved. So we have hostages being released, quite a few, actually.
You're still committed to the
And hopefully,
relocation?
I'd like to get as many hostages as we can. And then Gaza's a very, very important thing. It's been under siege for many, many years, and it's a shame. It's a shame. A lot of people die in Gaza. Gaza's been a place we have a lot of people die. A lot of bad things happen in Gaza. We'll see what we can do about it.
The dinner tonight, can you tell us about it? Who's going to be there? Any leaders?
So dinner tonight is sort of, I have a couple of them actually, but a lot of it's based around charity. It's at Doral, and we raise a lot of money for charities. We're also having one of the big professional golf tournaments there live, and that'll take place over the next few days at Doral from I guess tomorrow till I think they have a pro-am right now, but I'll be speaking tonight. I think I'm making a speech to the players, great players, some of the best players in the world, and ultimately, hopefully, the two tours are going to merge. That would be good. I'm involved in that too, but hopefully, we're going to get the two tours to merge. You have the PGA Tour, you have the Live Tour, and I think having them merge would be a great thing.
Mr. President?
Yes.
About the tariffs, do you have any message for the American businesses that might feel the impact of any reciprocal tariffs coming from the EU, for example, or from other countries?
Well, I think it's going to all work out. Remember, there are no tariffs if you build your plant or you build your product, make your product in the U.S. And so a lot of people, there's going to be a transition period because they're going to be building instead of paying tariffs to some other place. But there are no tariffs. If you think there are no tariffs, all you have to do is make your product in the United States. So and a lot of people are doing that. They're moving, like the auto companies. I know I spoke to 2 of the 4 or 5 that are really active, and they've already started moving their parts making things out of Mexico, out of Canada, and into the United States.
Sir, do you have a sense of how long Elon Musk's mission will last and when he will depart?
Well, Elon is fantastic, and I think he's a patriot, and I think it's a shame what they're doing with his car company, and a great car. It's a great car, great product, and it tells you what a patriot he is. He's amazing. No, I mean, as long as he'd like. I like smart people, and he's a smart person. I also like him personally. When he endorsed me, that's when I really got to know him. I knew him a little bit before that, but not much, and then he endorsed me, and it was a very strong, embracing endorsement, as we all know, and I would say Elon will stay for a certain period of time, and then he's going to want to get back to his businesses full time, but he's done a fantastic job. We found hundreds of, think of it, just hundreds of, we found millions of dollars of fraud and abuse and waste, and they're still going. I mean, they're going strong. They found something today that's horrible. It's horrible. So what they found, well, you'll find out very soon. What they found is great, but he also has a company to run, or a number of companies to run. That he can do this, that he can find the time. He loves the country, that's why he does it. But we're in no rush. But there'll be a point at which time Elon's going to have to leave.
So he doesn't give you a date, a specific date?
I would think a few months.
Even when Elon leaves and goes back to being CEO, will Doge stick around in some kind of capacity?
Yeah, it'll still Doge itself, yeah. At some point, just so you understand, I don't know what you get wrong, I want Elon to stay as long as possible. Number one, I like him. Number two, he's doing a great job. Number three, he is a patriot. That's why he's doing this. And he's, it's very costly for him. But, so I want him to stay as long as possible. But there'll be a point where he's going to have to leave. And when he does, the secretaries will take totally over. And Doge will stay active. We have a lot of smart people. A lot of those people, I believe, are going to go into the agencies. And they'll work on it from the inside.
You mentioned auto companies that you've been speaking with. Have you spoken to any executives today?
Yeah. Who? I don't want to say who, but I speak to a lot of the auto executives. But we have much more than autos. We have chips coming in. We have steel coming in.
Do they call
the steel factories.
exemptions?
The steel factories are opening up and expanding at levels that people have not seen. Also,
can you tell us a little bit about your meeting with Laura Loomer and Mike Waltz today, and how that came about?
So Laura Loomer is a very good patriot. She is a very strong person, and I saw her yesterday for a little while. She makes recommendations of things and people, and sometimes I listen to those recommendations, like I do with everybody. I listen to everybody, and then I make a decision. But I saw her yesterday. She was at the ceremony, and she'll always have something to say. Usually very constructive.
What did she recommend?
She recommended certain people for jobs.
Adding to the administration, not
adding.
Who did she
not
recommend?
firing?
Well, she'll recommend that too. But yesterday she recommended some people for jobs.
Did she have anything to do with the NSC aides who were ousted?
No, not at all.
Do you know how many, sir? Do you know how many from the NSC?
Not many.
Was it 5, a dozen?
I really don't know.
Who does Loomer want?
There were a couple that I know.
Who did Laura recommend hiring?
Well, I don't want to say that, but she's recommended some good people over the years. She's been in the party a long time. She's done a good job.
Do you trust your national security staff is doing what you want them to do?
We've done very well. We've had big success with the Houthis, as you probably know. Nobody's been able to do it like us. And they were shooting the boats out of the water. They were sinking ships. That's what they want to do. They're getting a big charge out of sinking ships. And unfortunately, they're associated with Iran very closely. So they have to stop that. But we've hit them very hard, and we've been hitting them very hard.
Sir, did you talk to Congresswoman Luna about her resolution to end maternity? The Congresswoman about her resolution to allow proxy voting for new mothers? Did you speak to her?
I did, and I would say this. I guess there's two sides to it, right? It's a little controversial. I don't know why it's controversial. I think she's great. Anna.
Do you support her movement?
I think that, and I'm going to let the speaker make the decision, but I like the idea of being able to, if you're having a baby, I think you should be able to call in and vote. I'm in favor of that, but I understand some people aren't. I'm not involved in the issue, but I did. I spoke to Anna yesterday. She and some people feel strongly about it, and I would agree with them, yeah.
Sir, you mentioned Iran. They have come out and said if they're going to sit down with the U.S., they want to use an intermediary. And I believe the U.S. wanted direct talks. Would you still be willing to talk to them via an intermediary?
I think it's better if we have direct talks. I think it goes faster and you understand the other side a lot better than if you go through intermediaries. They wanted to use intermediaries. I don't think that's necessarily true anymore. I think they're concerned. I think they feel vulnerable, and I don't want them to feel that way. And I think they want to meet Iran. They're talking about Iran.
You said you don't think they want to use intermediaries anymore. Did they send another letter?
Yeah.
Did the UAE let you know about this?
I know for a fact. I think they'd like to have direct talks. matter when I speak to him.
Have you talked to Zelensky recently?
Not too long ago, yeah.
How did that go?
Good. I think he's ready to make a deal.
No progress though, other than that?
I think a lot of progress. No, he's ready to make a deal, and I think that President Putin is ready to make a deal, and then you'll stop the killing of thousands of young people a week.
Did Kirill Dmitriev say that to his counterparts in the U.S.? Kirill Dmitriev, the Russian negotiator that's in Washington right now?
I don't talk about specific people. I just will tell you that there's a lot of good conversation going on about Ukraine, Russia.
Sir, have you given your approval for the UK's deal over the Chagos Island that Prime Minister Starmer and you discussed?
We're talking to the Prime Minister about it, and we'll see how that turns out. We have a very good dialogue going, and I think he was very happy about how we treated them on tariffs.
Sir, there are a lot of people who were upset about how the Daily Mail. A lot of people were upset today about how their 401ks were doing. Do you have investments? When you look at
I think our markets are going to boom. Got to give it a little chance, but we're taking in jobs, and we're taking in industry, and we're taking in trillions of dollars. I think our markets are going to boom. Got to give it a little bit of time, but they've already started construction on numerous plants. Soon it'll be many, many plants all over the country. They're going, and so you got to give that a little time. I haven't checked my 401k. Thank you very much.
Sir, one question on the Fed. A lot of money markets are now pricing in more Fed cuts this year.
But one thing I like is interest rates going down. You see that happening. And
The 10-year yield,
you know what's
below
beautiful
4%.
is interest rates go down. I like groceries going down. I like eggs going down. If you look at it, and very importantly, the gasoline prices are going down. So a lot of good things are happening. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your time, Mr. President.
Okay, like I said, that was the best I could do using every software I could to enhance the sound. It was on Air Force One. I don't know why it's so loud. I would think that's such a luxury plane that they would have some better acoustics. Unless, of course, they stick the press inside of a room that's that loud. Because I can't imagine that he's in his quarters where it's that loud. But then again, if you've ever been on an airplane, which most of you have, go ahead next time you're on and try and film a video. So you get used to it. And the people sitting next to you get used to it. You're like, huh? What? What'd you say? But then when you try to record a video, you realize how flippin' loud it is. It's crazy loud. So a couple things he hit on, in case you couldn't hear. The first thing he did was show them the new Trump $5 million card. It's ready. He said it's going to start being sold in mass in 2 weeks. He's going to buy the first one. I was very surprised to hear that he supports what Anna Paulina Luna did and how they want to be able to vote by proxy or whatever if they're pregnant. Okay, he came out and said he wanted it. What else did he say? He says Elon is still there, will still be involved, and then he's going to, just like his rockets, separate but still be a part of the team. And then he's going to put the Doge stuff under each secretary's head. So that person in the secretarial office will then run their each division. And then he's probably going to end up handing off a lot of this information to Pam Bondi, so they can go figure out what the heck's going on. I don't know if you heard a story earlier today that Judge Bo Asperger is thinking about holding someone, good luck, someone in the Trump administration under contempt. He's not giving up. He's not going away. He's just going to try and be a thorn in President Trump's side. But it's obvious at this point he's got nothing, no way to enforce anything. He's completely useless, feckless. Nothing's going to happen with him. It's crazy. So what I wanted to get into, and I hope you guys could hear some of the stuff he was saying, but today was really bad for people who don't know. And I would, like I said earlier, I would hate to be in the media just, 24 hours after these tariffs have been put in place to now start looking stupid. You better start looking over your shoulder. And I don't mean from a danger point of view, but you're going to look stupid. You put all this stuff out there today about how everything was horrible and the sky was falling. And you shot your bullets out. And now what's going to happen over the next few weeks, you're going to start seeing this big, giant ship begin to turn around. And you're going to hear in a little bit that the phones are ringing at the White House. People are coming in and they want to make deals. You're not going to hear that on the media. They don't want you to hear that. That's why you need to stop for watching them. It's crazy, absolutely crazy. And so I thought to myself, where do I see things going? Me personally, how do I see this giant, huge ship turning around? And it takes a long time to turn a ship. I don't know if you guys have ever been on a giant cruise ship or if you've been on a cargo ship or an aircraft carrier. It's not like you just sit back and hit the wheel and we're going to turn left right here. It takes a while for that thing to turn. And so in the interim, as it's beginning to turn, one of the things many of the things that I think people are missing because nobody's talking about it is, what does recovery look like? You see, I don't want people to think like this is going to be all these different factories in Allentown and Bethlehem and they're all going to be opening back up, because that's no longer the war we're fighting. And so my biggest concern is people are not going to be prepared for what they need to do to grab that prosperity that's going to be in front of them. And many of you may not be in that place to grab that prosperity and see where things are going. Remember that puck. You got to be seeing where the puck is going, not where the puck is. You see, I think a lot of people feel, okay, we're going to wave a magic wand and shoot some water into something and boom, up pops a factory. So I got a question for you. And it's probably a question that you haven't asked yourself. What do you think things are going to look like when America returns? You see, some people might think everyone's got a job. There's going to be lots of factories, a lot of manufacturing, a lot of that. And I think if you haven't heard it, let me be the first one to tell you that ain't it. You know what was Kamala's and Joe's thing? Build back better? Great. No, what we need to do is build back newer. We need to understand that this DeLorean is nuclear. This sucker is nuclear. We don't want to go back and just go back to the future and drive a DeLorean. We want to drive a DeLorean with a flux capacitor. We want a nuclear sucker. And I don't think enough people have sat back and thought that and go, okay, what does it mean for America to be wealthy again? Where do we need to go? Well, a lot of the stuff that used to work is no longer viable. And some of it's quite scary. In order to be the type of country that can seize the opportunities in front of us, Donald Trump has been laying out those breadcrumbs for you to listen to. And he's been bringing people into the White House and press conferences, and he's letting you hear where that future is. And I think too many people aren't listening. Where do you think the future is? Well, if I've seen what the investments are, it's in AI. It's in Bitcoin. It's in all kinds of technological things. It's in robotics. It's bringing us into the Jetsons age. Oh yeah. I don't know if you saw, but I think it was China has now a flying taxi. We are approaching the Jetsons. And America has been leading in much of this. We've been leading in AI. We've been leaders in Bitcoin and not kind of in robotics. But all those things, especially AI and Bitcoin mining, are going to need a crap load, an absolute boatload of electricity. We are going to need energy like we've never seen before. Those things, to create AI, to create Bitcoin, to do Bitcoin mining, to do all this stuff, we don't currently have the capacity to do that. And so the answer is, it's not more electricity, it's nuclear. It's basically putting small nuclear plants everywhere, which is probably freaking some people out. Wait a minute, you talk about putting a nuclear plant? Well, I'm not talking about the 3 Mile Island type thing. Those are obsolete. But we're talking about nuclear plants, maybe smaller, but that can drive so much electricity everywhere. If I were you, I'd go back and, if you haven't seen it, I've mentioned it many times, go watch Person of Interest. Watch that series. Go watch old Terminator movies. Go watch all those things where both the AI, the machine, and the robotics start working hand in hand. If you've been on X, you can look at with Neon. I was going to say Neo. If you're on X, you can look at what Elon's been doing with his Optimus. And some of the things, I mean, the thing is crazy. It jumps back, it jumps forward, it can run, it can do all these kind of things. There's a robotic dog that's been, around the White House. We're going to have to build back to the future just like Marty did. We got to go nuclear. So the jobs that are the fields that people are being educated in the school system is already obsolete. Yeah, there may be something that somebody can do with an English lit degree, but there's no way you're going to be better than AI. If I said, what was Shakespeare's first play, and give me the line to that play, you're going to have to go research. Meanwhile, I can just put that in Grok or ChatGTP or whatever, and boom, I've got it. While you're running around. Or I could say, hey, could you rewrite this? Oh, okay, so I've got a play. Hey, can you make an image of what it looked like back when Shakespeare wrote this play? Instantly. Can you make a video about this? There are a lot of jobs that are going to be gone. They're going to be obsolete. And you're seeing Elon is actually hastening that with one. He's got self-driving cars. He's already debuted self-driving taxis. Imagine calling a taxi or an Uber or whatever and say, hey, yeah, I need to go to the airport. Okay, and you're talking or you're texting or whatever, and a machine texts you back, and out front pulls in a car or vehicle, whatever, and you're looking, it's like, there's nobody in that vehicle. Well, that's where we're headed. So you're going to be out of work. If you think at this point today, and you're a driver for Uber, or you're a taxi driver, you're terminal. There's only a few years maybe before you're done. If you're a dispenser in a pharmacy, you're done. You see, because you can walk in and key in and say, give me 200 aspirin in this bottle for Mrs. Jones. Done. So what do you do if you're in some, and what I would recommend that you do is think about what you do as a job, what you do in your business, and thinking, will I be here in 3 to 5 years? Because you guys I've talked about the movie Other People's Money with Danny DeVito. And this is term he used in a movie, it was perfect. And he said functional obsolescence. And he's talking about buggy whips. And he said, I bet the company that made the best buggy whip in town was the last one to go out of business. Because they were so flipping fantastic, everybody from miles around wanted to buy Joe's buggy whips. Oh man, Rick, I got 10 orders from Mr. Johnson. Okay, you were fantastic making buggy whips. Until this thing called a car came along, and all of the most prosperous, most greatest buggy whips companies went poof. In your lifetime, you've seen that even quicker. Remember, I don't know, maybe about 15 years ago, there was this thing called a fax machine? What the hell is that now? There used to be phone booths. There's no phone booths now. Just think in your lifetime how many things that we knew and took for granted are no longer there. Many of you who are my age or so, Remember Blockbuster Video? We'd have to go in someplace and rent a video and take it home and put it into a VCR. Well, that not only is that transaction void, but all the stuff that involved in that transaction no longer exists. So you say to yourself, and I knew the guy, Wayne Huizenga, who owned or created Blockbuster Video. Did he go out of business? That went away. But he had Waste Management, where he, picked up dirt, and he used to own the Miami Dolphins. You see, business is going to find a way to move forward. With Blockbuster Video, went away. How close are you in what you do and in your business? How close are you from being a memory? Being something where people say, I remember graphic designers. How many different marketing companies have graphic designers? How many different companies 5 years from now are going to have graphic designers? That's skating where the puck is. If you right now are a graphic designer, I'm telling you, you are going to be out of a job. I don't have any problem in saying that. You will be extinct. You will be like the dodo bird. Remember when they used to have graphic designers? Oh yeah, I had a friend that was a graphic designer. What happened? AI. AI with a couple of prompts, and I can make any image I want. Literally anything. Now it's advanced to the point where if I see something, if I take a picture, I can upload that picture into the computer and say, let's make some edits. Can you make that sky green? Hey, can you put a rose across the guy's lap that's sitting in the picture? I don't even have to use Adobe Photoshop. Oh, by the way, that's probably going to go away because you're not going to have to do all the work. Do you know at this point in video editing, you can go in and say, remove every time I say You can't do that live, but obviously that's coming. There's probably going to be a button where you can say remove every time somebody who's talking goes, because now when recorded videos, you can actually do that. Remove all stop words, remove silences, remove breaths, remove ums. Boom, done. Done in about 3.5 minutes, depending on how big the video is. I hope I'm not scaring you. But that's where I see us going. And that's where Trump sees us going. And it hasn't been talked about enough as to this is where the puck is going to be. And America and Americans aren't understanding you're about to be obsolete if you don't catch up. So that's why the newcomers are a pain, because everybody keeps talking about who's going to pick you this, who's going to do that. I imagine 3 or 4 years from now that Hilton's going to deploy, 5 or 6 robots, and it'll clean an entire floor of hotel rooms in about a couple hours. All those people who clean the hotel rooms, they won't have jobs. So I'm telling you right now, you got this much time to begin looking at what you're going to do in the future. What you're going to be doing in the future. You may be watching AI Barry. It's a frightening thought. AI, hey, make a video today and talk about Trump being on an airplane and talk about tariffs and have that done in about 8 minutes. Make it 15 to 20 minutes long. Have at it. I'll be back. I'm going to go get some dinner. Oh, great. You did a good job. Here, post. You think I'm kidding? There's people making full-length movies that are AI right now. So let's segue into finance. Many of you haven't liked Bitcoin. You're not going to have much of a choice moving forward. Where things are headed, that's going to be a mode of transactions. And people who know how to use Bitcoin and know everything from how to buy it, how to use the key, how to transact, they're going to be down the road from you. So one of the things I think President Trump needs to do ASAP is begin promulgating and building more nuclear or high volume electrical stations. So I just wonder, what are you guys are saying? Because I'm like, am I scaring y'all? All right. So, and in order to do that, number two, which maybe should have been number one, you got to get government out the way. In order to build all of this stuff you want to buy, the nuclear stuff and the AI and the Bitcoin, you got to remove the regulations. You got to let people run. Of course, there's going to be your normal restrictions. Don't poison everybody and don't make the noise so loud while you do. I mean, those kind of things. But not going through what people in California have to go through right now to get a flipping roof. That whole state is in big, deep trouble simply because of what's coming down the pike. They can't even get you a permit to do something. That entire permit process could be done by AI. Oh yeah. Click this button and go through it here and it fills it out. Boom, you hit submit. And then it dispatches an inspector, which in the future could be a robotic inspector. But if it's a human, at least you're done. You're done. Go look. Get out of the way. Absolutely get out of the way of business. There's nothing wrong with saying that. Make sure the regulations that you do have are there. Other than that, get out of the way and shred everything else. But in order to do that and not have the regulations that you need to go ahead and build the nuclear power plants and all the AI and blah, 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 you need to put a boot up Congress's butt. You see, at some point here, you've given these people 90 days thus far to get their act together. And you got these crazy judges doing all these crazy things, and they can't get this done, and they fight here, and they... no more. Okay, no. Either you get your act together, or we're going to find a way around you. None of these 2-week vacations after you just got back from 5-day vacation. Get it done. We need the tax cuts. Get it done. Codify all these executive orders. Because if it's someone else was president, they all go away. Get it done. You need to take, I don't know what size shoe he wears, but pull him up with a couple boots and stick some foot up some people's butts in Congress. That's what I would do if I were him, and I think that's what's going to happen. Do something with education. I don't know, is this number 4 or number 5? Because the curriculum, never mind the teachers who are teaching it, never mind the fossils that have tenure in all these universities, you don't get a dime from the government unless you're driving people and showing people how to use AI and how to mine Bitcoin and know nuclear fission. And what the hell am I going to do with somebody who wants to have an English lit degree? You can look at so many of these universities and realize they're completely obsolete. The people teaching can't teach what's needed. You go to Harvard. Right now, if you went to Harvard, you will not learn what's needed in the future. Nope, not going to need it. Lawyers? I'm not going to need lawyers. That's all going to be AI. Might have robotic judges. Judges that, are programmed just to go by the actual law. Hey, Your Honor, robot, yeah. Here's my, no, what am I talking about? I'm not handing you something. I already filed it. You're walking in. He's like, put any auxiliary filings you need in here, feed it in, and the AI will scan it, and I'll tell you within like 2 minutes. I don't need to, go back and deliberate. Nah, this ain't working. Guilty, not guilty. Whatever the verdict is. We're heading to the Jetsons, people. We're not going back to 1950. Rosie the Riveter, nope, don't need that. Don't need it. We're looking out here where people are going to be flying around looking like the Minority Report. You guys probably sit back right now and say, Barry's crazy. No, I'm not. Just look at what Elon's doing. He's parking rockets. He's sending things up and coming them back down and landing them. And what do you think he's doing every single subsequent day since the first time they landed that rocket? Making it better. What can we do next time? I'm not making this up. I'm just watching what's happening in front of me. I'm watching and just seeing what I have available to me and how it's changing almost on a daily basis. And I realize, Ashley asked me the other day, she's like, can you show me how to edit? And I'm like, yeah, put it in this program, hit cut, and it'll do it for you. So we're going to be doing away with editors. The human experience is going to be based around, in my mind, people who can manage these processes, who know the prompts, who know the codes. I didn't say learn the code, who knows the codes. Just imagine right now, for yourself, I want you to think about this. Where we're going, there will be no rear view mirrors. You know, because rear view mirrors always show you where you've been. I don't need that anymore because I'm just looking this way. And the vehicle I'm in is going to know where I'm going and if there's anything on the side. It almost does that now. When Robin and I drive in our car, it's got this flashing light that says, hey, somebody in the left lane. Oh, there's somebody in the right lane. Think about the little increments of AI in your life right now. I get a notification, hey, it's time to go bring this in for service. I didn't know anything was wrong with it. Yep, you got to go bring it in. And then you go in, what are the first thing they do? They plug it in. It's not, this isn't a fantasy. This is real. But Barry, we're retired. I can't learn anything else. Yeah, you can. Yes, you can. You can continue to read. You can continue to learn and see what's going on. You can guide youngsters who have no clue. You can learn how to trade. You could learn how to Bitcoin mine. You can do all these things from the comfort of your home. There is no can't in the future. Oop, did I just say that? There is no can't in the future. That should be a t-shirt. Where we're headed, there is no can't. It's just, okay, what program, what prompt am I going to write to get it done? And if you thought of everything that you do every single day, from the time you wake up until the time you go to bed, think about how many of those things right now are AI-based. And then think how many of those things that you do can become AI-based. You get up, you physically at this point have to brush your own teeth. You have to go in and take a shower, but maybe in the future it's like you hit the button, it gets that perfect temperature, you put your arms up and it goes like a car wash. Okay, you're done. And then the towels come out and dry you. Far-fetched? Nope. Nope, we drive our car into them right now. Drive up, come up, okay, stop, put it in neutral, and we'll take it from here. And the thing goes through and you're watching and the water's going and the lights are flashing and the little rubby thing comes up and they're doing it, and there's no human. There's not a human until you have to come out the car wash and that person goes inside and cleans it up for now. Just see it myself. You go to refrigerator. You go to the refrigerator and there's smart refrigerators right now. Mr. Cunningham, you need eggs. Oh, I haven't been buying eggs because they're too expensive. Well, if you go to the Publix down on Glades Road, they're at $2.99, and they have 42 dozen in stock. I can order that right now for you. It'll be here in an hour. Bam! Far-fetched? We do it all every day. I don't remember personally the last time I stepped into a grocery store. I am in love with Instacart. I sometimes when I'm up at night editing, I will go ahead and click a button and order stuff, and it'll be outside at 8 o'clock in the morning. These are all the things that are coming, and you can just start using your imagination to say, okay, what exactly is it that's going to be taking the place of this? Walking into a room and just saying, lights on. None of that clapper stuff, lights on. Dim number 1, dim number 2, move number 1 up. Or it has a light sensor and says, here's the optimum setting. The days are going to be so much better if you know how to capitalize it, and if Trump can get the nuclear power, the regulations, and get his foot up Congress's butt. That's probably going to be the hardest thing, is get that up people's butt. One thing that I haven't understood yet is all the stuff I've just told you could be applied to voting. So why are we still waiting for people to tabulate things and everything? Oh, that's right, because they won't do it by hand. It's all fake. I don't want to be the person who's bringing you bad news. I'm trying to give you good news. I'm trying to tell you, even in our church, the good news I hear at church. Have you been to church lately? Have you been? We go to a church which is basically a satellite of a much bigger church. And Rob and I go sit in, and we're doing the worship, and the songs are being sung, and people are playing guitar, and they're doing the things, everything else, blah, blah, blah. And then the local pastor comes up and says, here's my announcements and everything else, blah, blah, blah. And then they'll do something, and blah, 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 and they'll do something here. And then they'll say, okay, so we're going to have pastor come out and talk. And all of a sudden, bloop, he's on the screen, right at the right time. And I told her the other day, I'm like, you know how they did that, right? Yeah, every single week it kind of surprises me. I'm like, doesn't miss a beat because it's all planned. Build back newer, build back future. Where we're going, we don't need plants. Where we're going, we need robots, we need AI, and we need people to actually oversee it, and it's going to be fantastic. Okay, now that I've scared everybody, I'm going to go here and look at some comments because I'm thinking, Barry, you just went on for like 25 minutes and people are like, what in the hell is he talking about? But whatever you're thinking right now, don't believe me. Start looking. See, that's every time I have one of these shows, I always tell everybody, don't listen to me. Go look. Go look at what's happening at a rate that's so fast. Now you're taking it for granted when you never had the ability to even do it probably a year ago. You drive your car and lights pop off and you got this little decal on your windshield that says, hey, listen, here's how much I have on deposit for the tolls. Used to have to give the guy at the toll booth money. And then they would say, hey, have a great day. Not anymore. There's not even a toll booth. It's just this thing here that's scanning. And then guess what that thing that scan does? Oh, it's got AI. Oh, hey, Barry. Yeah, you just went through 95? Yeah. Just figured out you were going at a rate of 67.8 miles per hour. And you have about $12 left on your account. And I told you the story that Robin and I were driving up the road. And Big Brother, the thing I told you, looked in the rearview mirror. I'm like, police are lighting me up. She's like, what'd you do? I didn't do anything. And he pulled up and said, hey, are you Barry Cunningham? I'm like, yes. How did you know? You watch my videos? No, the computer thing and your Big Brother saw you and took your face and looked at your license plate, which, by the way, your insurance is expired. What do you mean? How did you know that? How did the machine in the sky, who saw my face, who saw the license plate number, and all of a sudden was able to correlate all of that by the time the guy flipped the red light on me? You know, it used to be, all right, so can we run this plate? Yeah, I've got Barry Cunningham, C56595485555. And then they'll wait, and they got to wait. Yeah, lock him up. Not anymore. They already know. It's here. It is here right now. You watch cop shows where people are doing facial recognition. You didn't sign any paper, except there's probably a little placard in the airport when you walk by. It says, guess what? You agree to, by entering here, to be photographed and scanned. But now it's not just the airport, it's 7-Eleven. Everywhere. I'm telling you, go back and watch the show, Person of Interest. It has come true. The machine is here. I'm going to leave it there. Well then, there goes the land of the free. If you thought it was the land of the free in 2025, you weren't paying attention. See, that's, when I hear people say stuff like that, well then, there goes, yeah, it's gone. It's been gone. There is nothing you do once you leave your house that somebody can't track. Everything. You're going to drive down the road, you're going to turn left, the stoplight right there has got you on camera. And in every, like, so often there's another camera. And there's someone's Ring doorbell who can see where you drove by. You go to the store, you're on camera. You pay with your credit card. I got all your data, not me, but you know what I'm talking about. Land of the free, better go out in the woods. You can do that now. Lights on, lights off, exactly. But you can smoke reefer anyway you want. Oh, God, that's too funny. Yeah, land of the free is gone. That's why I always look when people like, my privacy. What privacy? You don't have any privacy. Privacy is an illusion. Privacy is just something that you bandy about going, you know, my privacy might be impugned, or you know, they might. What? You don't have any. You think I'm lying? I'll show you the road. You can just go flying down that road and see if there's no cops around, and all of a sudden some guy just walks up and goes, hey, excuse me, can you get out the car, please? Yeah, what? The thing up there saw what you did. It is. I need a good DeLorean with some extra. Don't forget, you got to have a well-working flux capacitor. Absolutely. Barry, you're scaring me that you think this is all so wonderful. I didn't say it was all so wonderful. Nope, you didn't hear me say that. What I say all about this is life has changed as you know it. It's never going back to 1950. Not going to happen. We cannot put this genie back in a bottle. Good, bad, indifferent, it doesn't flippin' matter. So when people are thinking, oh, it's going to be all kinds of manufacturing and all this stuff's going to happen, I've been watching the news over the last 2 days and going, someone want to tell them? Someone want to tell them it's not going to be like that? I don't know if you've seen a auto manufacturing plant lately. Remember the dock workers who were on strike? And the reason they went on strike is because the ports are already automated. They don't need you. And so they had to strike to tell people to stop using automation. How long do you think that's going to last? Just telling you. So no, I don't think it's wonderful. I'm just realistic. I just know what I do in my daily life. And it is what it is. And because it is what it is, either we deal with it or we don't. If you don't deal with it, doesn't matter. You'll get dealt with. If you deal with it, you're saying, okay, I want to be where that puck is. After the nukes start flying, we will go back to the Stone Age. Yeah, that would probably be it. There's been machines that can look inside your house, has been out for decades. Yep. Mm-hmm. With AI, you will be able to be arrested for what you think. Wish I had the money to move to the boonies. Yeah. Gotta love the sound effects. You know what I'm talking about. You've seen those big cranes that pick up the cargo and move around and do that kind of stuff. See, I'm looking at a few comments and I'm like, the last thing I want to do is freak people out. But at the same time, I'm looking at these comments and going, did you not know? That's scarier. To me, it's scarier that I'm the one telling you this. And to me, it's scary that people haven't seen where that puck is going and haven't taken the time to sit back and think, oh, wait a minute. I mean, everything. Operations are now robotic and stuff. When you sit back after listening to Barry and you're pissed off at me for saying it, and you start thinking, oh, yeah, oh, it's all going to come at you at once. And you're going to say, well, Barry, this isn't, I don't like it. There's no ride for us to, we can't get off. This is it. It's just moving whether we want to get off it or not. So I'm not saying here it's all wonderful, and I'm not saying everything is roses. I saw the Minority Report. Remember? Somebody programmed that Tom Cruise was a bad guy and he had to go cut out his eyes because everywhere he walked they were scanning. Yeah, it can go bad. We all saw, what was the one with Will Smith? iRobot. Robots can't hurt you. One just tried to kill me. No, that's not possible. I don't think it's wonderful. I'm just telling you what it is. I wish things were much simpler. I wish things were like they were back when I was growing up, and we didn't have to worry about this. But I can't make the clock go backwards, so I'm just trying to think, how do we optimize our existence in this world? What do we do to make sure we can capitalize and seize on the opportunities? The opportunities are going to be there for someone to seize on. If you choose not to, somebody else will. There is no doubt. Tighten up, Barry. No more joy juice for you. I'm not being... Oh, God, what somebody said here. You can guarantee that more evil will come from this than good. I can't guarantee that. I can't guarantee that at all. Why would you guarantee that more evil will come than good? See, that's where my faith in the Lord tells me that can't be true. That's where I'm like, all we can do is pray for the best. We can't go, oh, this is going to suck. We're in so much trouble. No, not necessarily. I believe, and because I believe, it tells me we're going to be okay. Whether or not that's because the comet comes or not, or the trumpets blare, but we're going to be okay. So that's why I'm not worried about it. I'm not worried about it at all. How many robot soldiers does China have right now? Good question. Good question. We don't need to worry about it now. God will deal with AI, so it helps humility and not hurt. What if, and again, I'm not a pastor, but I've seen AI in the church. What if this is something that God does want people to use? Just saying. I'm just saying. When you hear the worship songs, how do you think those songs are all being played and people are finding the songs and they're downloading the music and someone's doing this and they're hitting a button? When he's putting the passages up on the screen, somebody's had to find that passage. It wasn't like, they're not like the pastor where they can quote every passage in the Bible like that. The dude's amazing. But someone had to, key that stuff in, and they could walk up and say, hey, ChatGPT, we're going to be doing Matthew 6, 25, 34. Put that on a slide. Oh, you didn't know that could do that, right? Yeah. Time saving. Next week, when Easter comes, I think our church has 9 services. Can you imagine the mechanics behind doing 9 separate services over 2 days? Just saying. I have to be positive about it all so it doesn't drive me crazy. It's beyond our control. All right, well, let's flip this around before I get into the rest of these videos. What's not to be positive about? How can things actually be worse? You've got an overbearing government that the Democrats want. They want to drive censorship onto people. They want to take your money. They want to tax you to oblivion. They want to bring in newcomers. What's worse? That's how I look at them. Like, hey, things could be worse. Things could be a lot worse. Things will be worse if they get back in control anytime soon. That's why number 3 was Trump needs to put his boot up these congressmen and senators, right up their butt, codify this stuff, do something about these judges. Can you imagine right now on April 3rd what things would be like if she had won? See, I think there was some divine intervention there to make sure we didn't get stuck. Wow, I just took a break and thought about AI and the Bible teachings and the 666 chip. No, that's not it. I mean, if somebody said you got to put a chip in your hand to transact, no, that ain't happening. I guess I'm not eating. I'm not going to eat. I'm not allowing you to put a chip in me. That ain't gonna happen. AI is wonderful in so many ways. We use it all the time without even knowing it. Yeah. All right, so just understand here. I'm not looking at, I can see by the comments and I'm like, no, don't be afraid. You shouldn't be afraid. Being afraid is a sin, actually. Just understand where we're headed. Stop yourself from being worried about your privacy and everything else. Just start thinking to yourself, this is where I need to be ready for. That's it. All right, so I'm sorry if it took you down someplace dark where you got afraid. I'm smiling. And it's not because I think it's wonderful, because I know God will take care of the bad stuff, and it's up to me to take care of my family and make sure that we take full advantage of everything that's available to us, because I just feel that's what we're supposed to do. So just understand, 1950 is never coming back. Nope. 1960, 1970, 1980, none of that is coming back. So if you thought today that all of a sudden, Trump with the tariffs and everything he's doing, it's going to be so great because we're going to open up all these plants. Well, they may open a lot of plants, but it's going to be a different kind of person that works at these plants. Just saying. Just saying. I'll be right back. As you know, President Trump has assembled the Avengers to make America great again. And of course, we're all excited and ready to see them get to work. But with everything we're seeing right now, don't take your eye off the ball. Things could get much worse before they get better. With the possibility of World War III still looming, and with the Democrats doing everything they can to impede Trump, you still need to keep your guard up and your money protected. Oh, and our national debt is still massively increasing. Don't get me wrong, I have high hopes for Trump's America, but I also have a family to look out for. You see, Trump and the Avengers have quite the uphill battle ahead. That's why I'm making sure I'm protected, and I'm recommending that you do the same. One way to be protected is by diversifying your portfolio. That's why on this channel I've been happy to partner with Lear Capital. As you know, I've been involved in real estate for quite some time. And although I dabbled in gold and silver, Kevin and his staff at Lear have helped to educate me even further, especially in regards to silver. Give Lear a call today and they'll show you how easy it is to move some of your savings or your retirement account into gold and silver. Gold and silver have been proven to hold value and protect wealth for the long term. Call Lear today at 800-601-5430 or go to learberry.com to get your free gold and silver wealth protection guides. There's no obligation, just free information. Many of you have seen my interviews with Lear founder Kevin Demerit, and I can tell you this company is solid and likes to educate their customers. Just so you know, Lear has over 27 years of experience, thousands of 5-star reviews, and over $3 billion in trusted transactions, and is the only company with a 24-hour risk-free purchase. You don't pay unless you're 100% satisfied. So call 800-601-5430 or go to learberry.com. And when you call, don't forget to ask how you can get up to $15,000 in bonus gold or silver with a qualifying purchase. So if you'd like to take advantage of this opportunity, please call my friends at Lear Capital at 800-601-5430 and tell them Barry sent you. All right, so I'm looking at some of the chats and I'm like, chill, you must chill. Because the thing about chilling is, think of the good stuff. You know, when I was growing up, many of you probably did the same thing. We watched Star Trek. And Bones, and I think Bones was the doctor, and in order to fix all the people on the ship, he had this little doohickey. And it would go, zzz, oh, you got a concussion, Captain. That's good AI. Something that can examine you very quickly and go, oh yeah. Think of the good stuff. Don't dwell on the bad, because you're not going to be able to do anything about it. Those of you who had 401ks, imagine if you had an AI broker today. And you told the broker, when it gets to this point, sell. When it gets to that point, buy. Look at this, move this around, and you put all those orders in, and you never had to worry. You just did, you put in what you wanted at what point. I don't want to go below that. You got to think about this stuff, man. It's pretty crazy. And Gotta like it. Gotta like it. So with that, I'm going to move away from the whole AI. I'm just saying, recapping. Going to have to get nuclear. In order to do what this country needs to do in the future, we're going to need a lot more power. A ton more power. Windmills ain't going to cut it. We're going to have nuclear facilities all around the country. 2, we're going to have to burn, shred, get rid of so many governmental regulations, because in order to do the stuff with the power and the nuclear stuff, we're going to have government get out of our way. Number 3, none of this works if Trump can't put a boot up the butt of the Senate and Congress. They need to do what they need to do. Pass, codify things that are executive orders right now, and then do something about these judges. And then 5, I would say the Department of Education, although they're being disbanded, needs to come out with some sort of curriculum, suggested curriculum, to give to people, to give to schools, and say, this stuff ain't going to make it. I'm sorry, first period English, second period this, no. This is what we need to be teaching, because this is what we need. You can't do any worse. That's one thing. You ain't going to do any worse. These kids can't read and can't add now. So, colleges, what are you doing? You're charging $100,000 a year for shit that people can. They're making coffee at Starbucks. All you're doing is making little protesters, and they're going to stay protesters, and they're never going to be functioning, contributing members of society, because they can't do anything. Those are the 5 things I think need to happen, and need to happen very quickly, if this country is going to be the type of superpower that President Trump wants it to be. Otherwise, we're in deep, deep trouble. All right, so that being said, let's jump into the 10 spot here. Okay, let's go. Let me see if I've got it queued up. Let's see here. Boom. Here we go. Okay.
Here's the 10 spot. 10 stories that you just gotta hear. Number 10.
Yesterday, and I'll focus on the tariffs here. Yesterday, the president made one of the dumbest decisions in history. One that will negatively impact every single American family, every single one. He's walking us into the dumbest and most avoidable recession probably in history. And let's call the Trump tariff tax for what they really are, a huge tax hike on American families.
No, doesn't have to be. Sorry, Chucky. It only has to be that way if you guys don't get these tax cuts done. You know, I can do a show here and talk for an hour, hour and a half, sometimes 2 hours or more. And I'm not sitting there reading something. And the reason I'm not reading something is because when I decide what I'm going to say, I make the notes and I think to myself, is this where I want to go? This dude who's been in the Senate for like 50 years, you can't tell people how you really feel. You have to read a script. No wonder your approval rating's in the toilet. How can I believe a man who needs to read a script about this? Because he's lying. That's why. People need to realize these people read because they lie.
And not just any tax hike. J.P. Morgan called it, quote, the equivalent to the largest tax increase in 1968, since 1968. Here's what Bloomberg said, quote, roughly $2 trillion was erased from the S&P 500 at the start of U.S. trading on Thursday, amid worries that President Donald Trump's sweeping new round of tariffs could plunge the economy into a recession. And it claims more than 80% of the company.
Look at the two people standing behind him. And I want you to contrast, that's the word I've been using, contrast that with President Trump. President Trump smiling, having a good time, going to the golf tournament, having dinner tonight. Howard Lutnick's behind him smiling. Look at these people. Just look how they look. They can't even imagine what's happening because they don't want it to happen. They don't want you to be successful. They don't want you to prosper. And to them, this is the worst thing ever. Trump's being bold. He's being big. And he's changing the way we do things.
In the S&P were trading lower. Stock market has plummeted, retirement savings are tanking, consumer confidence is falling, consumer expectations for the future are historically low, companies are already announcing layoffs. I saw Stellantis just knocked off was going to fire 800 people, lay them off. All for these Trump tax, the Trump tariff tax. All for that, so they can have more money to reduce taxes on the billionaires. The average American family is going to pay more for everything. For food, for gas, for cars, for groceries, for clothing, for beer, for you name it.
So what I want you to do, understanding that it's now April 3rd, is just hold on to that. Make a note of it. Chucky, you said everything. See, one thing a politician should never do is use a superlative. Everything, always, all the... Nah, you just used the superlative. You said everything is going to be more expensive. You just said it. And you say it because the press allows you to get away with it. In 2-3 weeks, things are different. No one's going to come back to you and say, hey, Chucky, you said this and that. So you can lie with impunity and you never have to worry about anybody calling you on your BS.
It makes no sense. And the bottom line is that they're not fighting for American families. They're just aiding and abetting what they're doing and making it even worse with the Trump tariff tax. They even decided that they would tax penguins.
What?
Because two islands are included. I forgot the names of the islands. They're not...
Dude, stop while you're ahead. Seriously. Seriously, stop while you're ahead. Well, actually, you're not ahead, but you're embarrassing yourself. You're embarrassing the American people because you're a senator.
Here. But not Greenland. There were two islands that were included that only have penguins on them, but they were included in the Trump tariff tax.
Yeah, get those penguins.
Right. But that shows how haphazard, how sloppy, how careless they are. And one final thing here. This Trump administration is run by a group of billionaires. They're in a billionaire bubble. These billionaires don't have any understanding of what the American family is going through and how much worse it will be with the Trump budget and with the Trump tariff tax.
How much worse it will be than Biden? I'm trying to understand. Who are you comparing it to? How much worse it's going to be? You understand what you guys have done for the last 4 years, don't you? You understand what you've pulled America through and what you tried to push upon us. And then you're saying it's going to be worse? Well, it's already better. Eggs are already cheaper. Gas is already cheaper. What's going to get worse? As long as we don't go back to what you guys were doing, we should be fine.
They're just isolated. They don't understand. They're mean. They're nasty. They're uncaring. And we, tonight and tomorrow, are going to show the American people just who they are. Senator Merkel.
How are you going to do that? Tonight, meaning last night, and tomorrow, meaning today. How are you going to do that? Oh, you're going to manipulate the stock market with your cronies. Oh, that's what you're going to do. And then at the same time, you impugned everyone that's working at Doge. Just because they're money, you think they have money, you think they're a villain. That's not working anymore, man. That whole millionaires and billionaires BS ain't working. You're telling me that these people, because they have money, because a few of them are billionaires, they don't care about people. So I would throw it back at you, Chucky. All this stuff that they found out, you're just trying to tell people to ignore it. It doesn't exist. It's a mirage. Forget about it. Forget all the money you've stolen. Notice he doesn't address any of that.
Number 9.
Further, what they have said is that we need to not worry about manufacturing in America, because what we should establish is a policy of unfettered free trade. We don't need tariffs. What we need is to allow corporate America the freedom to throw American workers out on the street, People who are making 15, 20, 25 bucks an hour, health care, pensions, throw them out on the street because somehow, Madam President, we are going to create wealth in America and good paying jobs in America as we shut down plants, we move to China, corporations there pay workers 20, 30 cents an hour, and we bring the product back into this country. And anyone who goes shopping in a mall knows how difficult it is today to find the product made in America. But that is the philosophy. And I have to say, in that regard, the champion, and he is honest on this one. Senator McCain has been criticized recently for not being the most honest candidate we have seen in terms of his ads and so forth. He has been honest on this one. He is the lead advocate of unfettered free trade. And that's an also important part of this right-wing ideology, that it is good for America that corporations can go to China and bring products back into this country.
Wow, Bernie, you're against it. You're for free trade. Wow. What happened between 2008 and 2025? What happened in those short 17 years where you completely flipped? You know someone else I got a video of who flipped as well. You may have seen it. How did you decide that free trade was everything that you wanted and that you didn't want China, and now you're against it? You guys are it's hard to keep up with you. You remember millionaires and billionaires because they changed to billionaires because he became a millionaire with 3 or 4 houses and he couldn't talk about it anymore. He sold his soul. If people just saw these people for what they are, there would be no need for elections because they wouldn't even be able to run. They're just liars. They're opportunists. And they say, this is what I need to say. Oh, yeah, we need to be free trade. Oh, now we don't need to be free trade. Make up your mind. Stick with it.
Number 8.
What are you learning?
Well, as you said, Wolf, the White House has fired at least 3 members of the National Security Council, all staff of National Security Advisor Michael Waltz. And it does come after that Oval Office meeting yesterday between President Trump and Laura Loomer, as you mentioned, a far-right activist. She's someone who has once claimed that 9/11 was an inside job. I'd note that they've had a close relationship in the past, but there's many people who are also very close to the president who have, in the past, urged him to distance himself from her. But look, Loomer, we are told, went into that Oval Office with a list for the president, essentially arguing that many different members of the National Security Council were not loyal to the president. I was told that these 3 different firings were a direct result of what Loomer had told the president, what she had done.
I don't know if you heard, but that question came up on Air Force One tonight. Hey, did Laura Loomer recommend these people be fired? He goes, no, that's just the opposite. She recommended a couple people to be hired. So, CNN, you don't have a source. I'm pretty sure neither Laura Loomer or President Trump talked to these people at CNN. But the fact is, here, and why this is important, is immediately, because things are shaky and they don't know where to go, they decided to make a story out of this today. There were 3 staffers that were fired from the National Security Council, or whatever you want to call it. 3 of them. And they decided to put this on Loomer and say this is what was happening at that time. Do I know if that happened? No. All I know is these 3 people were fired. Why is it a big deal? That's the part I don't have an answer for. Why do you care? They're changing somebody out. They didn't like their performance. Why is that a big story? Oh, because Laura Loomer, right-wing activist. Oh, man, I'm so sick of that kind of crap.
Divulged to him during that meeting. The 3 officials who we know who are fired, but again, this is at least 3, include Brian Walsh. He's a director for intelligence. He's also a top staffer, or was a top staffer for now Secretary of State Marco Rubio, but for when he was a senator. Also, Thomas Boudry, a senior director for legislative affairs, who previously worked in Waltz's congressional office. And then also David Feith, the senior director overseeing technology and national security. Now, of course, what we have to note as well, that this all comes after there's been a lot of scrutiny of National Security Advisor Michael Waltz following his role in creating that signal chain, the story that really blew.
Funny, she didn't mention that any of these people were holdovers from the Biden administration. You kind of just omitted that. like it wasn't part of the article, the story that you wanted to write. I think you omitted a very, very important detail.
Up last week. We know that behind the scenes there's been a lot of frustration, including from President Donald Trump himself with Waltz and some of the handling of that. So there could be more firings. We know that there's been some tension as well with Waltz's deputy, Alex Wong. We are told as of now he is not among, or we believe he is not among those who were fired. But more of this could definitely come following that meeting yesterday.
I don't know if you saw President Trump leaving Washington and going on Air Force One. And there were three people. I saw Stephen Chung, who's a communications director. I saw Susie Wiles, and I saw Mike Waltz. Mike Waltz flew down to South Florida with President Trump. What's that mean? I don't know. But I'm not going to jump ahead and try to make this a big deal, because the one question he kind of laughed at the lady on the airplane is she tried to go into the whole signal gate thing. And I'm not talking about that. You're just trying to dredge up things because you don't have anything else to talk about.
7.
Here's what I think. America is rich. We buy a lot of stuff. President Trump is saying that if you American business or you foreign businesses want to sell in America, then move your business here and hire American workers. That's a laudable goal, and I support it. It'll work long term. But as you mentioned, in the long term, we're dead. Short term matters. And the truth is, nobody knows what the impact of these tariffs are going to be, Bill. I listened to my friend on another network, Willie Geist, this morning, predict raging inflation. Now, I know Mr. Geist is smart and well-educated because he went to Vanderbilt. But that's just a wag. That's a wild-ass guess. China has huge trade barriers. They don't have inflation. They've got deflation. India has a lot of trade barriers. They don't have raging inflation. We'll know more in the next couple of months. If you want a surefire investment, go book as many rooms as you can at the Hay Adams Hotel across from the White House, because every foreign trade representative is going to be coming to America to meet with the Trump administration to try to negotiate. So it'll be 3 or 4 months before we know what the final tariffs are going to be.
Numbers.
I love that guy. If you want to have a good investment, go book rooms at this Washington hotel, because you're going to be able to flip those rooms, because there are going to be so many people coming into Washington to kiss the ring. He said himself, I wasn't a big fan of this, but I can see where it's going to work. And that's all I've been trying to tell you guys, is you don't have to be a big fan of all this stuff and AI and Bitcoin and everything, but you have to have the foresight to see what's coming, and it's coming fast.
6.
His policy of reciprocity is exactly right. There has to be a level playing field. For many decades, all these foreign countries have not played by the rules. You know, you can talk about free trade all you want. They have high tariffs, very high tariffs, low wages. They erect enormous barriers. They're tariff and non-tariff barriers. Sometimes they're currency barriers to prevent us from exporting to them. That's done a lot of damage to our economy, particularly industrial goods, the industrial heartland. It's just what the president said yesterday. Reciprocity is the right now. The transition, I'm reading crazy things, for heaven's sakes. People saying globalism is in, no more global trade. Yes, of course, there'll be plenty of global trade, but there has to be a level playing field. We're not even close to fair trade.
Do you know what happened? The real story of what happened? The government pulled a massive psyop on the American people. And they got people used to, comfortable, not even thinking about it. Don't think twice. No one ever checks labels. You just buy whatever you wanted to buy. And, oh, wow, I didn't know I can get that for $10. And you just buy it. And you didn't think to say, is that made in America? That's something we just took for granted. We can buy whatever we want. We can go in any store. We can buy that thing, this thing, that. It doesn't really matter. and we got used to cheap. See, no one wants to admit that, myself included. We got used to cheap. And it was cheap that was basically the thing that hooked us in the cheek. Oh, that's cheap. Oh, that's not too expensive. Oh, that's cheap. And we just loved cheap. We got lazy. Why? Because it was cheap. And it became generational, where people always thought, hey, that's the cheapest. Well, let's go ahead and buy that. And what's funny is, when people look at people who are wealthy, many of them do the same thing. Oh, that's cheaper. That's less expensive. And then you've heard the phrase many, 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 many times. And that phrase is, you get what you pay for. But one of the things that Americans never put two and two together is, while this may be cheaper, it's going to cost us in the long run. Because people are going to get used to buying this thing from Pakistan or India or China, and the American store is not going to be able to compete because it's so much more expensive. So when all these libs and all these people on CNN are saying that things are going to be so much more expensive, which I haven't seen yet, the thing they never say, which should be at the end of every single one of those sentences, and should be at the end of any sentence you use in regards to things, what they cost, at least it's from America. Because that should be the codicil. That should be the pre-qualifier. I am now going to be buying American. And I'm comfortable because it's American. They're not talking about that. They're still with the psyop telling you, hey, it's going to be more expensive. Of course it's going to be more expensive. It's made in America. And it's more expensive because of what you compared it to. You compared it to crap. Think about it. It's one big psyop. Oh, and Chuck Schumer said everything's going to be much more expensive. That was his exact words. What if, instead of saying something's going to be more expensive, we said, and we began telling people, the market is about to normalize. Things are going to cost what they should have cost. You have been brought up, you've gotten comfortable, you got fat and happy on stuff that we should never have been buying. And so now, pulling that Band-Aid off is going to hurt some people. I would be more worried or more upset that somebody can't afford 30 cents more on something. Hey, Chucky, why is it that these people are so poor, so dependent upon the government, that they can't absorb a 30-cent rise on, hair extensions? They don't want to talk about that. Why is it that people can't afford it? I'm pretty sure, I've seen what some of you guys are saying in here, I'm pretty sure many of you can absorb that. We're not talking about something costing $1 all of a sudden costing $5. We're not talking about something that's going to be 7 times more expensive. If something is 30 cents more, isn't it worth it? If you people were for America, you Democrat politicians, why wouldn't you be saying that? Hey, I understand it's going to be a little bit more expensive, but you're helping America. Because you do it on the flip side. You do it on the flip side when you're trying to take from us. Hey, we need to take your money. You need to pay your fair share. Well, doesn't that go both ways? Shouldn't you be paying your fair share up front too because you want to help America? Or is it only when you take? See, they can't justify you spending more on a product because it doesn't go in their pocket.
5.
How far does China have to go? How much more repression? How big a trade deficit and loss of jobs for the American worker? And how much more dangerous proliferation has to exist before members of this House of Representatives will say, I will not endorse the status quo? As I mentioned, it's about jobs, proliferation, and human rights. And there are those who say we shouldn't link human rights and trade and proliferation and trade. I disagree. But if we just want to take up this issue on the basis of economics alone, indeed, China should not receive most favored nation status. for several.
Ooh, Nancy, that's in 1996 you were saying that. What's changed? What has changed to the point where now, number one, you've got $200 million plus in the bank, so that's changed. But other than that, why did you change? Why did you and Bernie both flip completely? What is it about free trade that you no longer want free trade? That you'd rather support China? No one's asking those questions. These tapes are really available. CNN, hey, Wolf Blitzer, you could download this and play it and ask her. No? You don't want to ask Nancy what she was thinking? And how she changed? No? No, okay. Anybody else? Caitlin, you want to ask Nancy a question? Hey, Nancy, I saw this tape from 1996, and you were all about making China get the playing field level. What happened? I'd love for her to say how things flipped. 1996, we're talking, under 30 years. Now it's different.
Several reasons that I'd like to go into now. I'd like to call the attention of our colleagues to this chart on the status quo that the business community is asking each and every one of us to endorse today. Right now, we have a $34 billion trade deficit with China.
Boy, inflation has hit. $34 billion back in 1996, and today it's like $295 billion. And she's going to talk about the tariffs now. Let's hear about the tariffs, Nancy, please.
1995 figure. It will be over $40 billion for 1996. Since the Tiananmen Square massacre, this figure has increased 1,000%, from $3.5 billion then to about $34 billion now. In terms of tariffs, I think it's interesting to note that the average U.S. MFN tariff on Chinese goods coming into the United States is 2%, whereas the average Chinese MFN tariff on U.S. goods going into China is 35%. Is that reciprocal?
If those of you guys who are on X, that cut, it's about 5 or 6 minutes long, and it's just, you just hear her digging a bigger hole, and you're like, Nancy, what? That should Trump should make that a commercial. just put it on loop. What's changed? Other than the fact that now it's upside down to $295 billion, but why now all of a sudden you don't want a level playing field? Democrats got a lot of explaining if people were willing to ask the questions.
Number 4.
What I would say is this, Liz. It's already had positive effects before they even went into effect. Stellantis announced they were going to move a new truck, an EV pickup truck, into the idled Belvidere, Illinois plant. So Hyundai, I believe it was, announced a multi-billion-dollar investment in one of the southern states to build a new plant to build their cars and trucks, or cars and vehicles down there. So before he even put these into effect, his tariffs were having a positive impact on the American economy and on creating American jobs. Secondly, I just want to note that nobody was crying these crocodile tears when they were closing the Mound Road engine plant that Chrysler had in Macomb County, or the Romeo engine plant in Romeo, Michigan, in Macomb County. But all of a sudden, now that we're trying to bring these products back, these components and these vehicles back to the United States, all of a sudden all the so-called experts are saying it's going to plunge us into recession and be terrible for the economy. Yeah. So thank God. If they're crying, I think we're doing something right.
So as I said earlier, you better have a long-term view of this. Auto workers. That's going to be an obsolete term. You're going to fight, you're going to scratch, you're going to claw. But it's going to be something even Trump can't help you. It's coming. That train is coming at you fast. The light is bright. And it's only a matter of time. It's not an if. I think that's what people have to realize. It's not an if. It's just a when. How long can you be protected before you're no longer needed? I mean, if you look at some videos in automobile plants right now, you can't believe how much of that is now automated. So it's just a matter of time before more and more and more get automated, which is the part where I've been telling you, get ready.
Number 3.
To the body politic. Well, just really quickly, we knew that this.
Now understand, this is on MSNBC, and this woman in the glasses here, she's supposedly a Republican. She hates Donald Trump, and she'll trash Trump at any chance that she gets. And she goes on with Nicole Wallace, and they have like a Trump-hating fest here about the tariffs. And I just thought to myself, as I've said to you many times, these people are making millions of dollars. They're impervious to all this stuff. Doesn't matter to them if coffee goes up 25 cents. I don't care. I don't care. I'm still making money. And so when you look at the perspective in that regard, what she's got, well, let me just let you hear her say it.
If Donald Trump won, was going to be wildly different than his first term because those generals were there the first time. You were just asking in the last, segment why voters sort of didn't understand. And it's because, you take your kids bowling and they're little, so they put up those little gutter things that when they
I put those things up. Yeah, the bumpers.
The bumpers, right? The generals were like the bumpers. Donald Trump's first term was filled with career Republicans who acted like bumpers against.
I don't know if she realized what she just said. I don't know if she realizes that she just said that they had put all these people in place who were basically traitors. These generals and career people, rhinos, were there to put guardrails on President Trump. So everything went well in the first one because we didn't let him do anything. She just said that on national television. Not my words. You know those things that pop up to make sure the ball goes straight in the bowling? Yeah, I use those. That's what we did to Trump. Wow. Wow, you just admitted on television that there was this plan to put guardrails up to keep Trump bouncing off the things. So they couldn't really do what he needed to do. You had the generals and rhinos in place. And now you're afraid because you ain't got it.
All of his insane ideas and who protected him essentially from himself. And those bumpers are all gone. And so we are living in the gutter 100% of the time with people like Laura Loomer. And the fact is, no, it is not clear yet, I think, to voters until they feel the negative personal consequences from what Trump is doing. And I think the tariffs, I've started to hear it in the groups. And last time I was on your show was really the first time it had started to bubble up. It's the economic stuff. Even Doge, some people are nervous about it. They don't love Elon Musk, but people have to they have to touch the stove, right? They have to feel the negative personal consequences before they're really going to turn on him. And that's why I think the tariffs are one of the things that are really going to start shifting the environment for Donald Trump, because they will have real world negative impacts on people's wallets fast.
Touching the stove. I feel like there's another podcast for.
You get the feeling that perhaps the Democrats, the deep state, have left the stove on, using her metaphor, that they're hoping that people put their hands on this thing and get burned, that they're basically thumb on the scale with the stock market, thumb on the scale with all kinds of different things, pricing of different goods. Remember, BlackRock owns most of the beef. Just saying. If you want, like she said, we need people to feel the pain. Why? That's an odd thing to say. If you were rooting for America, wouldn't you possibly say, we just hope this works out and Americans do great and they get through whatever they need to get through, their 401ks, their groceries, we just hope everything works out. No, they're talking like they're strategizing like the enemy. We put up guardrails before. This time, we need to make you feel the pain. Oh, thank you. Thank you for being so honest on television so everybody can hear what you just said. You don't care about America. You could care less what happens as long as Trump's not in power, and that's supposedly a Republican. What kind of Republican? That's why I keep saying we need to just make a completely new party. Just make it the MAGA party, because these people ain't with us. Number one, you're on MSNBC and you're yakking it up, hoping that everything poops to bed. That's not rooting for America. That's rooting against America. And they're all over the media. You would think at this point, just like with, I don't know, a hurricane, and there's hurricane coverage, and they're so empathetic, and they're always talking, people in this district here, you need to evacuate, could be really bad. Oh, here's a shot of people at the hotel because their homes got, flooded. No, these people are like, you're going to feel some pain. We love it. And there's no guardrails, but this will help. Help what? What's it going to help? It's going to help you try and beat Trump? That's what you're saying? So you're watching complete opposition. That's all they're doing. They don't care about America. They should just call them the Anti-American Network. You don't care. We just need to get back in power.
Number 2.
We don't want investors to be panicking now or rage selling. We've had a very painful drawdown, and I know we're facing this huge uncertainty that may not end tomorrow, might last months. But like the other declines in stocks, like the one last year or the ones in 2022, the ones who could endure that short-term pain and took advantage of those declines are going to have good opportunities.
Wow, there's some stocks in the green right there. So he's saying what I told you.
Yeah, what if things are different, though?
Number.
Understand, there's a method to the madness. It's where we want to get to. We want to get to where that puck is going to be, not where it is right now. And batten the hatches. It's a Cat 3 coming. But you know what happens after that Cat 3 hits? Bright sunshine, perfect weather. It's not going to be a Cat 5. We don't have to leave town and run. We're looking at Cat 1, Cat 2 level, which is basically a big blow. Nothing really is going to affect you. You had to buy some extra lumber or something, or get some gas for the generator, all that kind of stuff. But every single one of us who have been through a hurricane know. I've even walked outside with Robin during, while the eye's passing. It's the most incredible experience. You just went through, and then all of a sudden it stops, and you go outside, and you could actually see blue sky. I mean, clear blue sky. And that's when you realize, looking up, wow, God, you made this, huh? Yeah. So we're halfway through it. Yep. All right. Now that we know what the worst is, we'll get through it. And you go back inside, and then it's perfect. Understand, prepare. It's just like a storm. You're going to get through the storm. Just stay away from the nuts. And I'm telling you, watch what's making money and understand how to prepare accordingly. Don't get panicked. Like he just said, don't get the media. If you turn on the media and watch them for any extended period of time, you'd lose your crap. Don't do it. So this last cut, it's just something special I put on here. It's got no sound, so just give you a chance to look at it. You guys can talk about it as you see it. This is just emblematic of the badassery of Donald Trump. So he flies down here to Miami because he's going to Doral to go to the live dinner tonight. And he flies into the airport, obviously, Miami, probably Dade. And then he takes Marine One to the golf course. And they had a convoy of sorts. It's just pretty cool. I just wanted to include it before we sign off.
1.
That's just the coolest shot. He's at the golf course. All the Secret Service guys are there, and he's got his own little. I'm sure it's not bulletproof, but he's about to get in his own golf course. His golf cart, and they're gonna tool around. And you see people in the background. Looks like Caroline Leavitt walking up there, heading towards the clubhouse, and Trump's gonna get in that cart in a second and just drive. He's just gonna go ahead and drive. I don't know if you guys saw this tonight, but he's like, "Where's my cart, man?" And one thing about Trump is he likes to drive his golf cart. He's gonna let this guy drive him today, I guess. But Marine One is parked on the golf course, and he's about to drive. Just Just check this out. This is a guy who doesn't look like has much of a care right now. And here he goes. You know, this just screams opulence at this point. And it's one of the things the Democrats probably hate, that this guy's coming down here to this ritzy golf course. And here comes his golf course convoy. Three carts up front with Secret Service in it. Oh, you just dropped the window in case they got to shoot through it or something. And then there's President Trump on his golf cart heading up to the country club. That's just so cool. Look at all the carts. There's like 20 carts in this procession. Hey, how you doing? How y'all doing? Yeah, I got it like this. I'm down here on my golf cart. That's whew. This man has no fear. Man's been shot in the head, and he's in an open golf cart, tooling around. Look at all those bushes and everything else. It's just really cool. I just thought that was just something really, really cool, because we don't get to see that kind of stuff. And look at all the golf carts coming behind him. Like an army of golf carts coming. Oh man, that's too funny. I just wanted to show that to you, but I think that's just awesome. Does that man look like he's worried? I'm just saying. Does that man look like he's worried about the economy going off the rails? Mm-mm. When you see Howard Lutnick and everybody else and they're sitting around and they're smiling, they don't look worried. You don't need to be worried. You don't need to be worried either. All right, so just to let you know, the hoodies site is not working yet. Well, it's by design, because April 1st we're switching over and we're getting this stuff ready for the t-shirts. So give me a couple of days, probably through the weekend, we'll have that ready to start, where you guys can enter to win t-shirts. Check this out. Hey, if you'd like to join 15,000 plus fellow patriots on X in our private X/Twitter group, go to fanfareshop.org/group. Just put in that URL in your browser. It'll take you right to our private group on X. Love to see you there. Let's share some content. And if you'd like to win a hoodie, or rather if you'd like to enter to win a hoodie, go to fanfareshop.org, fanfareshop.org, and register to win a Trump hoodie.
Welcome back to Fanfare with Barry Cunningham.
I just realized when I put up the t-shirts that I won't have Robin as the model, because I had to get like a rendered model. AI. Isn't that funny? I have an AI who's going to be modeling the t-shirts when they come up next week. So that's going to be funny. Until we get one, then I can go ahead and put one on Robin. All right, so let's go here and do super chats. Jeremiah Kerr, have faith. First time since 1930 that tariffs have been thoughtful. They failed then. Ignore the side notes. We will prevail. Mm-hmm. Willie, I do appreciate all you do for us. Thank you, Willie. Paul C., this is how big $1 billion is. 1 million seconds is 11 days. 1 billion seconds is 31 years. Wow. White Wolf, testing mods, ban me for 5 minutes, just checking if you're on top of your game, protecting good old Barry. I don't even know what happened there. Down the stairs, Barry, look at the yields. 10-year yield dropped from 4.79 in January to 4.51 today. That's really objective with Bissett and tariffs. All right, so what Down the Stairs is talking about is that yield that he's referring to was basically the 10-year yield. And so as that drops, interest rates drop. And that's going to help with the refinancing of the debt of $9 trillion. And it's going to make a huge, huge difference. People aren't paying attention to that. Good job. White Wolf, Barry, I'm not afraid of sloped rooftops, just saying. Bueller. Sammy Morrow, thank you, Barry. Can you please send me a Bible? Yes, just email us with your mailing address and we'll get one out to you for sure. James Hammond, even a high-tech country needs copper, aluminum, coal, steel, concrete. These are basics, plus they need to be mixed with other metals. Yep. Maximus, Barry, can you please tell everyone from California to follow Carl DeMaio? He is the only Republican in California legislator that is fighting the left to fix California. You know, Ashley has Michael Gates coming up. Michael Gates used to be an attorney for the city of Huntington Beach, and he's now working with the Department of Justice, so we will have him again, second time. CR, thank you. Even so, come Lord Jesus, come back soon. Ernest Walker, deregulate America, freedom. Yeah, that's a big thing. Nancy Jennings, what bothers me in all honesty is the future has no time for human feelings. This makes me sad. We lose our voice. No, you don't lose your voice. People who care to hear you, people who love you, people who want to be around you, they're not going anywhere. No, that's not going to happen. Greg Yergin, a wheelchair will become a hover chair. You imagine that? Penny Corridor, I am so glad I watched this video. It was so encouraging. Thank you. Thank you for ideas on how to protect our future. Thank you. Miss Avi, we don't need plants, huh? Could you expand a bit? I think I did. I mean, for the time being, we're going to need plants. Well, actually, hold on. Let me rephrase that. I didn't say we wouldn't need plants. What I said is the plants of the future will not look like the plants of the past. It's not going to be something with 12,000 people in it because highly likely it's got 2,000 robots. Taria Garakani, Barry, you're absolutely right about the technology in the near future and how fast it's progressing. I am glad I am alive to see all this. Yeah, you can just watch. You can just see what's happening, and you can see how things are progressing so fast. Things that weren't there literally yesterday are now. I've just watched how AI has moved in on Grok. Nothing else. If you just look at Grok and see how often they're updating it. It went from Grok 1, Grok 1 point something, and now it's like Grok 3. And even he's saying it's so fast. White Wolf, hi, if I was put in time out, Barry and Mod's the best. It took a minute, but they came through for you. We're on the cusp, everyone. Chapo, person of interest was a blueprint of what is happening and what is to come. If you guys have not, I can't recommend that enough. To go watch Person of Interest, and if you haven't seen it in a while, go back and binge it, and you'll be like, OMG. Tommy Ratcliffe, deal with it. I don't care what they say and see me anymore. There are no phones or cameras in my bedroom, and I'm not a criminal. It's life, good or bad. Good for you. Faraday cage. Terera Garakani, as I'm getting old, I will purchase one of the robots to take care of me in my home. The retirement homes are too expensive. Imagine that. That's a good point. Imagine you don't have to leave your home. Imagine you've got some sort of robotic thing that takes care of you, brings you your meds, makes your meals, all drives you. No, well, actually, you won't need a driver. Penny, that's right, Barry. If you trust in the Lord, it won't matter. Exactly. You have to trust that He's going to guide you the right way. I mean, I'm not going to get too spiritual right now, but you know, you feel it. You get that feeling like, oh, I'm not supposed to be doing this, God, right? Nope, you ain't supposed to be doing this. Okay. Sonia Brown, the Lord will soon come and end all of this. If it's bad. Robert Husbands, I will buy a robot and send them to work for me. White Wolf, Skynet is the future of elder care. I can't wait to see this roll out. Good point. What's that? Rhinoceros. I think what we're going through is the precursor of us all becoming telepathic naturally, and in that world, AI will be our servant, Batman's Alfred, if you will. Nice analogy. Imagine trying to be a politician when everyone can read their thoughts. Wow, that's deep. That's deep. I like that. Peter Ortiz, what if Johnson and Thune never helped Trump? They're going to have to. I don't believe they're going to help him. Too much corruption on both sides. They don't want to be exposed. They're going to have to. He's going to have to find a way. Larry 1754, AI is a data gathering tool. Type into AI only what you want from it. It will search and scour every little tiny minuscule corner of the internet to find it. It only creates what you tell it to create. Where'd that go? Wait a minute. Okay. Jeremiah, 5% tariff on each Canadian goose in U.S. territory. We've had it with the majestic geese. Greg Yergin, I dare everybody here to buy only American goods in April. Let's see what happens. Challenge accepted. Challenge accepted, Greg. Danny Robinson, the world went and got itself in a big damn hurry. Brooks Hayden, the Shawshank Redemption. Remember that. Remember what happened to Brooks too. Yeah, he couldn't cope. That's a good thing. In the Shawshank Redemption, he's talking about Brooke, one of the guys who had been in jail for 30 or 40 years, and he goes, everything's so fast. The world went and got itself in a big damn hurry. I can't deal with it. And he hung himself. Born on the 4th. Maybe if the media libnuts understood basic business practices, they wouldn't sound so ridiculous. And at the same time, they're hoping that the people they're talking to don't understand either. Neo, watch the market at work. Wow. Buy the dip. Buy that dip. Despina Angeles just shopped at South Care Walmart and all less money. It's kind of hard when, like I said, if you don't look at the news and just live your life, tell me on Monday or Tuesday, are you seeing anything different? G. Fisher, great show, Barry. Re-register for t-shirt. Nope, same database, so you won't have to re-register. Donna Schumer said they'll see in the next couple of days. What will we see? Same thing the lady Nicole Wallace said. Oh, they're going to feel the pain because they're going to manipulate the stock market. If you don't look at the stock market and just live your life, you won't feel anything. I really feel that. Lady Addie, that is one heck of an arrival on a golf course. I would have had all those golf carts ready for him. Yeah, they did. Jeremiah Kerr, when prices may rise, we may prevail. Stick together, fanfare family. Absolutely. Use Gas Buddy. Find out where the cheapest gas is in your area. It's going to be a lifesaver. Anna Romeroy, you are so right, Maximus. I can't move due to elderly parents, but yes, I love my state. Politics are crappy. Trying to change a flow. Carl DeMeo. Well, I'm going to have to look up who this guy Carl DeMeo is because it seems like you guys definitely like him. All right, that's all I got. Oh, wait a minute. Let me just tell you about tomorrow. So, I'm pretty sure, I just got to check, see if Ashley confirms her tomorrow, if it's still a go. All right, so as of right now, unless something changes, tomorrow is the 4th, and tomorrow I've got Nancy Mace coming on at 2 o'clock. So Nancy Mace will be on the show tomorrow at 2 o'clock. Tune in. I've got a J6er we're going to be talking to earlier than that, but she's the headliner. Nancy Mace tomorrow at 2 o'clock, but I'll probably go live at 1 and get ready for her. Talk to you guys tomorrow. Thank you guys for tuning in. Get some dinner.
Thank you.